Hello everybody, Iain Robson here. Welcome to the edition of Nebraska. Alright, we got what's going on today. As you can see, we're seeding this field right here. This is field number 8. And as you notice, I thought this was kind of interesting. It'll seed the field, and I guess as the chopped straw texture that stays there even though it's been seeded. I guess it needs to be cultivated. I'm not 100% on that, but that's what it seems to be the case. Anyway, so I got this guy. He's currently seeding it. So I wasn't sure that I was actually seeding, but after taking a closer look, we are indeed seeding. It just looks as if we're not. So I thought that was kind of strange. Also, we got this guy chilling out right over here. And we're going to go ahead and fertilize field number 8, 9, 3. We're going to fertilize seed number 3, or field number 3. And I'm going to go from there. So as you can see, we're a bit low on cash at the moment. That's what happens when you buy a seeder and a huge fertilizer spreader machine. But I guess it's no different than being an actual farmer in real life. They often go into debt for whatever reason, one way or another. Well, basically, getting a vehicle like this, even though it's necessary on the farm, and often a farmer will have to go into debt to do that. There aren't a crazy amount of farmers who are able to stay out of debt. If they can, that's awesome, but it doesn't happen as often as it should be. But that's due to business, not necessarily because of farmers not wanting to. It's just the way things go sometimes, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this guy set up here. I could hire a worker, I suppose. I forgot. Or can you? Maybe you can't hire a worker with this one. I haven't actually tried. Maybe you have to unfold it first. Let's see. Because that was one of the things they talked about. They were like, yeah, you can hire a worker now. Which is the best way to approach this? Yeah, it is this way. So let's turn around here. Nope, doesn't appear that you can hire a worker still, so. Strange. Yeah, I guess you can't. I thought you could. Oh well. Alright, let's get lined up here. And bring the GPS up in a second. Perfect. I'll lower that down. It does work with courseplay. I did a test, and it does work with courseplay fairly nicely, actually, which is good to know. I wasn't sure if it was going to work as nicely as I would have liked, and it did, so which is awesome. Often, sometimes when you have some vehicles they don't play nice as other ones, so it's good to see that it was working not perfectly, but nicely, let's say. Because that doesn't always happen, so which is unfortunate when it doesn't happen, but maybe I should raise that boom up a little bit so it doesn't collide into the ground. Yeah, it's nice when things work well. So I'm just going to miss this last edge of the field, but that's okay. So yeah, it's good to see that this works well with courseplay. It works well with GPS mod, but the only thing you can't do is hire a worker, apparently, which I'm kind of surprised about. Due to the fact that you can hire workers anywhere else. Also, I realized that with courseplay, this actually runs at twice the speed. So when I'm using it, it runs at 12 kilometers an hour. When you use courseplay, it can go up to it goes like 20 kilometers an hour. I'm not sure the reason behind that, but it's something I happened to realize when I was playing. I was like, oh, look at that! It actually, you can go 20 kilometers an hour with courseplay. But with when you drive it yourself, it's kind of like, well, 11 kilometers will do, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure the reason why there's that limitation there, but there is, so it's fine. And now I can't walk away from this, but right now I have, let me just go over here into growth. So this right here is wheat, and we're planting, an 8 is going to be barley, and then I think we'll plant canola number 3 here. And we have to plant something on there too. I think maybe we'll just leave that field fallow one more season. Because you never know what can happen. Wow, I gotta raise this up a bit more, or else we're gonna look at that. It's just it just happens to be the way the field is positioned. So, wonder how that would work in real life. I suppose they probably wouldn't seed or fertilize the field this way, though. I guess what would happen is they would probably fertilize. I don't know, actually. I don't know if there's a good way to do that. Because there's not much you can do. Alright, let's turn around. Yeah, I don't know if there's much you could do in that context. Like, you kind of have to do your best based on the situation on the field, but in that context, there's not much you can really do to avoid that, I don't think. I wonder. I guess, well, I know some of the newer sprayers actually have variable height management as well, so they can actually adjust the height of the boom as it goes along. So in situations like this where the field is kind of like has different spots where it goes up and down, I suppose that's where they would implement that boom management system. I don't think it's every sprayer has it, mind you. I was talking to a guy from where is he from? GPS Ontario, and he was saying that he was installing a few rigs this spring, I think it was, or fall. I think it was in the fall. And he said it's a pretty awesome system. Like, they've automated so many different various things that like improve the efficiency. Like, being able to adjust the height of this is really helpful. So situations where if you want to stay just above the corn, for example, if you're spraying corn for whatever reason, that's a scenario where adjusting the height would be good. And I think it does it with sensors. So it senses where like the top of the the plant is, and you can go from there. Either that or it senses the ground. I don't know. I want to say it's the top of the plant, not the ground, but I don't know for sure. I didn't ask him that many detailed questions. Often what happens is, if you're interested in something, they'll give you a demonstration, but mainly if you're a paying customer. If you're not a paying customer, then they're not always as forthcoming with information. It just seems that way, because like, I guess in their mind is if you start asking questions and you're not going to buy it, it's kind of like, well, you're wasting my time, I suppose. I guess that's the feeling some people will get when you start asking questions when you're not actually a farmer, first of all, and second of all, you're not willing to buy. So, I don't know if it's the case for everybody, but it does come across that way from time to time. But I can understand, like, if there's another customer there, then yeah, that's different. But if there's no one there, then it's kind of like, well, usually they're pretty good about it. I remember talking to one sales associate at the Ottawa Farm Show when I was there a while back, and we had a good conversation. He worked for a Kuhn, or Coons, I think it was, with an S, and it was a lot of pretty interesting conversation, actually. So, not to say everyone's like that, but he did have to eventually head out and start talking to people who were someone else, essentially, because I don't know how long I took to talk to that guy. It was quite a while, though. Alright, let's turn this way. But that's the way it happens, you know. You do the best you can with what you got, and I asked him lots of questions, and he was willing to answer them, so that was good. But yeah, definitely, if you're curious, I would say, you know, get out there and ask questions about anything, whether it's farming or something else. Like, I always ask questions. I'm always willing to, I don't know, I'm always a person who, if I'm curious about, like, why is there a crowd of people, I will always ask, like, the crowd of people. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, why is everybody crowding around? And I'm that guy, I guess. So, but I've always been like that. I don't know why, but just the way it is. Perhaps it's partially because I teach, and when you teach, you're not that shy, I suppose. So I don't know. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it at least. So it should be kind of just the way it is, I suppose. So yeah, like I said. But if you're curious about something, ask. Whether it's here or if it's something else, basically. I don't know. For example, a while back I was thinking about installing Linux on my computer, and I was asking around, asking some people what their experience was with Linux, because I have never used Linux before, and people were pretty People were not, they didn't shy away from answering questions, and they were more than willing to answer the questions, so it's very helpful. I still haven't done it yet, mind you, but that's just because dual booting operating systems can be a bit interesting sometimes. So if you're trying to boot Windows and Linux, can create problems sometimes if you do it depending on the order you do it. Like they suggest Linux themselves on. I was looking at Ubuntu, which is a version of I was looking at, and they were saying that you can do it, but it's better to install Windows first rather than Linux. Linux is open source, so they're a little bit more. They're a little bit better for support, I suppose. But they are. It's interesting because I understand that a lot of people use Windows, so they're okay with helping you out as best as they can. So, just gonna wait for this to fold in, and we're gonna fill up because I know I'm gonna get halfway down that field and have to refill again. It's too bad I don't have the anhydrous tanks anymore. That would have been really cool. All right, so the funny thing about this field is if I stay on the field, I won't have the drop off, but as you get closer up here, let me just go in cab so I can show you. See this? That's what happens on the edge of the field. So if you get too close to that, you just drop right off. There's some more cows, but they did a really cool job with the feedlot. I have to admit that. I really think they did a pretty good job on that little area. Well, this is pretty dirty already, though. I'm kind of surprised how fast that got dirty. But I did fertilize 2 fields already, so maybe that's the reason why it's gotten that dirty that quickly. I don't know. And the funny thing is, on this particular map, I can't put a pressure washer down because it'll crash the map. Just a mere coincidence on this particular map, mind you, but on other maps it wasn't the case. I just don't enjoy the washing the vehicles scenario. I like the way they look when they're dirty. And I even set the duration to get dirty to slow, because I thought maybe that would take a lot longer. And it does take a while still, so not as long as I would like, I guess. But let's check on this guy. How's he doing? Oh, he's coming in to fill some seeds too. Better stay in this guy then. Guess he's gonna need to get out of the way real soon. We're gonna be pretty far into the hole now, jeez. There we go, that should be more than enough to finish that field up there. And let's stay out of the way of the other tractor, wherever he's coming from. Perfect. So yeah, it's as I was saying with Linux, it's a pretty interesting operating system because it's all open source. And there's lots of variations, like Windows 7, you just get Windows 7. You don't have like Windows 7 XYZ, there's not a lot of variations. You have Windows 7 32-bit and 64-bit, and like that's the only choice you have. Whereas when you use, actually we can go this way. When you use Linux, you can have a lot more variation in what the customization of the software and whatnot. So, and it's open source, so that means it's free. Unfortunately, there aren't many games that support Linux as an operating system for gaming. I think. Let me just think. I believe Minecraft does support it. I don't know how that works. What other ones are there? I don't think there's many other ones that really support Linux. I'd have to actually honestly look. I don't think FarmSim does. I would be extremely surprised, considering how long it took them to get the Mac version out. I highly doubt they have a Linux support. So that's just me. And what else would be Eurotruck? Eurotruck just got the Macintosh support up as well, so I don't think they have Linux either. So yeah, not many games. The funny thing is, if you're gaming, Linux isn't the optimal system because you basically it's not the optimal system because it doesn't support many games. There are some games that do support it, but it's not like every single game. So you're better off going with Windows. Unfortunately, Mac tends to take a backseat to Windows in a lot of cases when it comes to support. They tend to get the support last. Like, I didn't know, but Euro Truck Simulator, like I said, just got support for Macintosh, like the full version. Like, the beta was out for like a month or so, and now the full version of Euro Truck Simulator 2 is out. for Mac, but it's been out for a lot longer for Windows. So this goes to show you that SES, the company that makes Eurotruck, is still working away, making sure their product is supported as best as it can be. Like, that's awesome. Like, considering how long it's been since the starting of, since the release, since to now. Like, I don't know when it was actually released, but as far as I know, it's like a year, I think, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's been around that. So the fact that they just brought out the Mac version right now is awesome. Like, it's awesome in the sense that they're still supporting it, but not awesome if you're a Mac player, let's say that. Because that would suck to have to wait that long, but oh, actually it's not straight. If you look carefully, there's a bit of a curve on there. Huh, that's kind of cool. I wonder if it's like that in real life. It looks straight there, but if you look from here, it doesn't look straight. But it's the way it is. I don't know, I've always gamed on PC, so I don't know what the deal is with Mac stuff, or Linux for that matter. But I was considering setting up the other computer with Linux, because it's a bit safer than Windows, because lots of viruses and malware are designed for Windows, but they're not. There are, I can't say that Linux is, there's not viruses made for Linux, but they are definitely less frequent, let's say that. Only because it's not as widely used in the general population. So, but that's one of the reasons why. Like, I know Dirt Heber says, let's turn that off. He often says that don't go to this website sort of thing unless you have Linux running machines, Linux machine running or downloading the file itself. Otherwise, you could easily get a virus or malware or whatever. So, I know he said that more than once. I don't know which website it was off the top of my head now, but I know he has said that before. So, I have to think what it is now. Is it uploader.net? I don't think it was, but that site's pretty bad for it too. So, it's minus 6,000. That's a bit rough. We haven't planted anything here yet. He's getting there. We should definitely plant canola in this. Is there anything else worth a lot of money? Yeah, like on this map, it's like you might as well just plant canola the whole time because the price differences. Look at this. Where is it? 6,700. Like, why plant anything else on this map? Anyways, for variation, that's what I say. But it's just one of those situations where you look at the prices, and go like, wow, what's the point of planting anything else? In real life, it makes a big difference. When in this game, you can just keep planting the same thing, and that's fine, right? So, c'est la vie. But I know this year, or I should say last year, there was a lot of soybeans planted. But it'll be curious to see what people do this year, what the planting season is like in the spring, because we're in February now, February 1st. So it should be interesting to see. So February, March, April. So we got like what, 3 months, 4 months still before people start making some plant. Well, people, I suppose, if people are proactive, they have already made their planting decisions, but they may adjust accordingly. So, for example, weather conditions and whatnot. So, if the conditions are good, maybe they won't change. If the conditions are bad, maybe they will. So, we'll see. It'll be curious to see how many acres of soybeans versus wheat's planted. I was looking at a chart the other day by Philip Shaw, Agronome is his name on Twitter. At Agronome, he's a commodity analyst and a spokesperson, has a few other things as well. Anyways, he put a chart on Twitter the other day, and he was noting the number of acres of soybeans, wheat, and corn, I think it was. And the number of acres for wheat was way down. Over the years, it's gone way down. So one of the things that I know in Ontario, and I think I've mentioned this before, in Ontario, some grain elevators will give you a premium for hard red winter wheat, I believe it is, which is pretty good. But it's hard to grow, and you don't. You can make good money on it, but you have to have a good yield. So it requires a few different things. You can't just. Soybeans seem to be a bit more tolerant of lots of different things, whereas wheat is not as tolerant, as far as I know, at least. Although I have been told, I've noted that it can respond very quickly to, like, if you apply like some sort of, if you apply like a if you apply, what am I thinking of? What's the word? Phosphorus, maybe? I can't remember what it is anymore. But if you apply, like, let's say, a fungicide or something like that on them, on wheat, it will respond fairly quickly in comparison to other crops, as far as I know. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, the grain. Apparently, there's a program for hard red winter wheat in Ontario, which is hopefully encouraging more people to grow wheat. Hard red winter wheat specifically. I think it might be just hard red grains, so it might be rye in there too, and barley. I don't know. I don't know if there's those. I know there's wheat like that, like hard red winter wheat, but I don't know about other. I think there's rye and barley like that as well, but you don't see. Actually, this year I did see a lot of barley grown, which is interesting. I don't know if that was intentionally put into the mix or if it was like, you know, last minute decision because of the weather and whatnot, and like that's entirely possible as well. Whoa, look at that turn. Look at that. That's entirely possible as well, just because the season we had, like barley is pretty good for taking up no matter where and when it's planted, as far as I can remember. I think it matures faster, so that's one of the good things. Like, if you get canola off early, and you can get, I think, if I have to remember all these it's funny, these things, I don't use these things in real life, so I just happen to remember a lot of random stuff, and this is some of the random stuff I remember. But as far as I can remember, the earlier you get your wheat in the ground, the bigger your yield will be the next year, basically. So if you got canola off early and you put winter wheat down after that, you could get some good yielding winter wheat. But that really depends on whether you got it in the ground on time or not. So, and that is always the problem you run into with wheat, is getting it into ground on time. I don't think we're going to be able to finish this field without having to refill again. It's crazy. Well, let's just take a quick little pause here from this and check what this guy's doing. He's doing all right. It should be interesting to see how how it works with this shaped field. I haven't done too much courseplay stuff on some of the oddly shaped fields. This is kind of square anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem, but it'll be interesting to see how he accommodates the corners. If you look at the other field over here, I could probably bring it up. Not with that screen, with this screen. Is it going to show it? Yeah, you can kind of tell in the corners there's like a little bit of, there's a little bits when he did the headlands, but other than that, it was pretty solid. So I'm fairly pleased with that. I'll take it. Yeah, seems to be doing well. No problems there. Let's go ahead and save. Don't want to run into any problems. That would be not fun. But better safe than sorry. Perfect. Awesome. Let's go back to this and finish off this pass here. Now, the question is, how far down the next pass are we going to go? I have a feeling we're not going to be able to finish it up. And I wonder if I can. I wonder if the seed store over there has fertilizer instead. Because it probably will be closer than going back to my farm, I suspect. So let's finish off this pass here and then go to the seed store and see what happens. Let's fold it up. You have to admit, they did a pretty good job with this folding animation. Like, it looks pretty solid. The cool thing is, if you watch these right at the end, here, I'll see if I can zoom in here. Just watch those. It's pretty cool. Check that out. I thought that was pretty cool when I first saw that. Alright, let's back up here. And let's see if we can get something from here. Some fertilizer from here. I don't think we can, but let's have a go at it anyways. Pretty sure we can just drive straight up here. What do we have? This is the biogas plant, I think, and that's the seed store over there. Question is, can we buy fertilizer from this seed store? I think we can. Maybe we can't. Let's go around. We should be able to. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. Usually people That's strange. Usually at the seed store you can fill up your fertilizer and everything there too, but apparently on this one you can't. Huh, that's weird. I thought you could. Guess we're going back to the farm then. I can't believe I had to put my my sprayer in jeopardy by doing that little hill climb just to see, or just to find out there's no fertilizer available here. What a crock. Alright, I think what I'll do is I'll stop the episode there for now, folks. I'll finish that off camera. So I don't know if you want to see me drive all the way back to the farm again. This is not tippy at all. I'm used to like I've been playing Euro Truck a little bit, and there's like, I probably can get at the co-op. No, it doesn't look like it. I'll take a truck back to the farm, but this is pretty. It doesn't tip at all, which is nice. I would have thought that did. Is that actually a hitch? Oh, it is too. I don't think there's any supply of vehicles though, is there? Sprayers. Where am I don't think that would even work with this. Because I don't know actually. I have to double check. Miscellaneous. Is there fertilizer? This holds milk. I thought there might have been a some sort of fertilizer transport tank, but there doesn't appear to be. Well, I don't have it at least. It's entirely possible that there is one. I just don't have it. So, anyways, let's pull into the gas station right here. And we'll call it there for now, folks. So my name is Iain. Robson has been Farming Simulator 2015, coming at you from Nebraska. Catch you guys later.